Welcome to our first video in our tutorial series for getting started with ClockOn. In this tutorial, we will focus on the basics for getting started with a minimalistic solution to enter gross wages to submit payroll information to the ATO. We will be covering some basic steps for checking that your payroll period information settings are set correctly, entering a default super fund, entering your employees into the system, processing a payroll, and then submitting the payroll information to the ATO via the Single Touch Payroll system. First, we need to check that the current payroll periods are set correctly. Payroll periods allow you to split groups of your employees based on their agreed contracted payment cycles. These settings may already be in place as you were prompted to enter this detail when setting up your ClockOn organization instance. You are able to review these settings through the Setup, Additional Settings, Pay Period section. Check that the pay frequency is correct, the payroll period dates are correct, and the payment date is correct. Note that the payment date is important as this will reflect when you're expected to make payments to the employees, as well as other items for ATO, such as reporting passed through to other government departments, such as Centrelink. If adjustments are needed, you can use the Options Edit button to make the appropriate changes. For this example, we are running a weekly pay period starting on the 1st of the 7th, 2025, with a payment date 1 day after the payroll period on the 8th of the 7th, 2025. These settings are designed to be set and forget as the payroll periods will flow into the next payroll cycle automatically as they are processed in the system. Next, we need to review and enter super funds into the system. To add super funds, use the Setup menu, select Additional Settings, and then select Super Funds. Here you will see a list of funds that are currently available in the system. To add a new fund, click Add Super Fund, and then select the type of fund, whether or not it's a retail industry super fund or a self-managed super fund. Retail industry funds require the fund's name, ABN, and USI detail. Self-managed funds require the fund's name, ABN, account full name, electronic service address, the address details for the owner of the fund, as well as the bank details for the fund. Once the funds have been successfully added, you have the option to indicate one of your industry funds that you would like to use as a standard super fund for the business. This is used with our employee onboarding feature. With the payroll periods and super funds in place, we can move on to adding your employees into the system. To proceed, click on the Employees tile. This will show you a current listing of the employees in the system. To register a new employee, click Actions, Add Employee. If this is your first time doing this process, you will likely be prompted on whether or not you would like to elect to use our integration with Flare. This is in regards to employee onboarding. This is an optional feature which allows you to enter a minimal amount of employee information and then send an email to the employee for them to check and set their personal details such as their address, contact details, superannuation, and bank details. For this demo, we're going to use the Enter Manually option. Before proceeding, we will need to make sure that we have the following information. Personal information for the employee, such as the name and date of birth, their official start date with the business, their contact details, their tax file number and tax category, whether their employment's going to be full-time, part-time, or casual, and their super details. Once this detail has been saved, you will see an advanced settings screen for the employee. As an additional step, select the Pay tab, and under the Award Configurations section, select the Select button. Next, set the allowance set to default. Click OK. This will give us additional payment allowance options that we'll be using later on in this video. Now that you have your employees in the system, you are ready to move on to preparing the payroll. To open the payroll screen, use the payroll tile. Click the Create button. Ensure that you've got the correct payroll period selected, and then click Create. This will create a draft instance of your pay run. You will see a summary display for the employees, which includes their hours, gross wage, tax, net wage, and super. You are able to drill down into the employees to a payslip level. To do this, click the Options button and select Payslips. For this example, we're going to expand the Allowances and Deductions section and view the gross wages allowance that we added when we linked the employee to the default allowance set. We can then enter an amount in here. So let's just say $1,000, and the system will automatically calculate the associated tax with that for the period, as well as the super. Rather than entering that manually against each payroll period run, you do have the option to enter that as a default amount for the employee if it's consistent across every period. To do this, you can click on the Actions button and select Employee Allowances. Click the Add button. Give the allowance an appropriate name. Set the amount relevant to the pay run. And then change the per period to payroll period. And then click Save. You'll notice that now there is a consistent amount here of 1,500. We can then clear this amount that we manually entered before. Next pay run, the employee will automatically be filled with 1,500, which the system will calculate the tax and the super for. Once you're happy with this, click Close. You will return to the screen with each of the employees listed. You can repeat the process for each of the relevant employees, and when you're happy, click the Process button. At this point, it's usually a good idea to ensure that the payments are made to the employees. Subscribed users have the options to generate an ABA file, which can be uploaded to easily disperse the amounts. Alternatively, this can be done manually using the amounts calculated using the payroll reporting. Once the payroll has been processed, you are now ready to submit your payroll period to the ATO using the STP system. To proceed, use the Export menu item and select Single Touch Payroll. Under the Payroll Submission section, select the payroll that you've processed, click the Next button, and then click Submit to finalize the process. We also recommend spot checks on your STP submission history to confirm that your ATO records have been processed successfully. This is done through the STP wizard using the View History option. Items that are waiting to be processed will show as black. Items that have been completed successfully and the ATO has verified will show as green, and items where the ATO has detected an issue will show as red. If they show as red, you can highlight them and click Results to get some more information on the error. If you need help interpreting this, please please contact our team at support@clockon.com.au. We hope this tutorial has been helpful, and if you'd like further assistance, please use our chatbot feature or contact our team at support@clockon.com.au.